are Jewish in the class, it's very, very difficult to find Jewish families who want to send their kids to this school.
Didn't you let attend your daughter this bilingual school?
Yes, my kids.
She was there.
Yes, until last year she moved to a better school, which is
now.
The bilingual school is a great school, but there is one. She's talented. She's very gifted. She was accepted to the best school in Jerusalem.
Would you say this is
Bibi Netanyahu's son used to study there?
Netanyahu's son was in your class? No.
He's older than.
Older. Yeah. Would you say this is just this bilingual school is one project?
Yes.
Is that a project of hope, or is it? How shall I say? Is it a waste of hope?
Yes, there is really no good reason for me to be optimistic when I look at the reality. I'm not talking even about what's happening. We cannot disconnect our reality from what's happening in West Bank and Gaza. If I look at the elections, and if I look at the researches, and if I look at the Israeli mainstream opinion, I really don't have a reason to be optimistic. But from the other hand, how can I afford not to be if I'm a father for kids and I'm trying to do all my best to create a better future for my kids and for my neighbors' kids as well. On the other hand, in a very naive way, I think that it's impossible to be that mean all the time. So things that give me hope are the relationships with my Jewish neighbors and my Arab friends, and are my colleagues at work, and are my Arab actors and Jewish actors, and the fact that when it's personal, there is no really personal war going on. The war starts when you belong to a bigger thing. I really don't have a reason to be optimistic, but I cannot afford not being optimistic.
Yeah. I found in chapter 1, I found a passage, a little extract that I would want to ask you to read. That sounds to me like a synopsis. It is at the evening when the lawyer and his wife invite the 4 befriended guest families.
Yes.
And the gynecologist is zipping from his glass of whiskey and getting a handful of cashew nuts, and she's now going to read this passage in German.
Was für ein Blödsinn, sagte der Gynäkologe, trank einen Schluck Whisky und nahm eine Handvoll Cashewnüsse. Ich muss mich wirklich über dich wundern. Was ist denn ein Mensch ohne Wurzeln wert? Das ist wie ein Baum. Kann er etwa ohne kräftige Wurzeln wachsen? Genauso ist es mit einem Kind, mit einem Volk. Ich meine, sagte der Rechtsanwalt, lächelte und hielt seinen Gästen weitere Eiswürfel und Whisky hin, um die Gemüter abzukühlen. Ich meine manchmal, dass ein Baum ist und ein Mensch ein Mensch.
Thank you. This little text extract is about, it finishes off that the gynecologist, the lawyer, sometimes feels that a tree is a tree and a human being is a human being.
Yes.
Is that your message somehow, apart from a literary message?
I'm not sure that a tree is always a tree. A tree can be a very wicked. I don't know if there are messages after all, but yes, it's some of the doubts. And again, its identity and roots are so holy. And when you listen, I do sometimes talk in front of high school students in Israel, and it's really, really awful from both sides. The roots and the history and the belonging, and it's terrifying, and the nationalism, and it can be really very scary, and we have really very, very sad sentences just like that. It's about it's always the tree need roots, and we accept it like it's a fact. We don't even doubt the meaning of being Jewish and how important to protect the Judaism. I don't know how to call it. So yes, I wish that people will be a little bit more relaxed with their identity and their belonging and their history, and I guess we really teach our kids most of the time again to repeat exactly the situation and to keep it, even to make it worse than it is today.
Why do you think so?
Because why do you think it will be worse?
Why is it the way you describe it? You somehow say, or keep saying, it's getting worse and worse all the time.
Yes.
The state of Israel has developed over the recent years, mostly after many more Jews from the former Soviet states immigrated into Israel.
Yes.
The country has become more right-wing, more nationalistic than before, with the killing of Rabin in Tel Aviv in '95. Somehow the reforms were over.
Yes.
There were no real clear achievements and aims at creating a change of the solutions that we are now seeing in the far distance, maybe.
Yes, although there's supposed to be negotiations going on, but really no one from both sides believe in the peace negotiations. Why? I really don't know why, but after the second Intifada, of course, after 2000 and the Barak Camp David thing, it also it became a fact in the Israeli society also that there is no partner. And one of the scary things, I think, that in Israel people now do not talk anymore about if it's a national conflict or it's a land or it's economical or it's about religions. They talk about cultural conflict and even a mentality conflict, like the enemy got a different logic than us. One of the craziest or the sad things that I heard in the Gaza war, for example, let's call it war, is that, and you hear it from the media, like a very famous journalist asking a military man, so actually we are facing an irrational enemy. So it's they created the Arab who got a different way of thinking that we cannot we don't have a way to deal with the problem, ignoring the fact of refugees and the war and the land and everything. But I don't know why it becomes more militant, but the Israeli society becomes more extreme and more even religious and more.
At the same time, when we look back into history, we know that before the state of Israel, Eretz Israel, was founded, there were neighborhoods with Palestinian Arabs and Jewish people who came as the pioneers from Russia. And they lived, according to many stories I heard about that time, they lived very peacefully, coexisting very peacefully.
Yes, until the point, I think that they used to live, Jews used to live in Arab countries and also in Palestine and also in Jerusalem. Of course, there were. I'm not sure how equally they lived, but it was a better situation. And again, I think that the huge problem started when the Zionists claimed that they own the land, that it's their land, and even my grandmother, the sad story. Okay, she's not educated at all, but she was never aware of something called nationality. It's a European new thing that maybe started to be a few Palestinians in the cities started to be aware of the meaning of nationality. But even my grandmother lost her land. Said only the Jews, they want the land. Why didn't they ask us to pay the tax exactly like the British men did and the Turks before? So that was the situation. Again, the